spreading disinformation. Facebook has admitted more than 100 million people were exposed to posts created by Russians working to sow division during the 2016 election. And joining me now for a TV exclusive interview is Nathaniel Gleicher, the head of cybersecurity policy at Facebook. Thank you so much for coming on, Nathaniel.
Thanks for having me.
So first off, there's going to be this new election center Facebook has unveiled. Why should people trust Facebook to provide voting information? What makes it credible?
Well, the voting information centers are going to be one-stop shops for information about how to vote, how to register, how to make sure you're registered, how to get mail-in ballots. All the information in it is going to come from state elections officials and nonpartisan election experts. And our goal is to get this accurate information in front of voters so that they can understand what's coming, they can know how to vote and how to participate. I also know that getting information out there is a key part of protecting an election, because we know disinformation is most effective in times of uncertainty. And so putting this information out there can help inoculate public debate so people will know what's coming and what to expect. And so we can get 4 million people registered to vote.
All right, so let's talk about disinformation. In June, President Trump posted this on Facebook. He said, quote, "Rigged 2020 election, millions of mail-in ballots will be printed by foreign countries and others. It will be the scandal of our times." Now, this is not just misleading. This is a lie. Attorney General Barr even told Congress he has no evidence of this happening. But this post is still up, and it's being shared more than 18,000 times. Do you concede that this false information is being spread on your platform?
I think it's really important that people be able to see claims that their elected officials are making about voting and about how voting works. To be honest, I think claims like this will probably factor into people's decisions for how they vote in the fall.
But hold on. Let me just ask you really quick on that note, and I'll let you finish. But I guess I don't understand, because you're saying people should listen to what their elected officials say, but didn't Facebook remove the video posted of President Trump saying that children are nearly immune from coronavirus? So how does that square?
We have clear, bright lines around content that could lead to direct physical harm, particularly around misinformation of coronavirus. Something that suggests fake cures or that certain groups of people are immune. But for voting information like this, what's really important is, yes, people should see what their elected officials are saying. They also need context and facts from the experts. And so the Voting Information Center is designed to actually strike this balance. There will be links on posts about voting so that people will see what their elected officials are saying, but they'll also see information about how protected vote by mail is, what the process is, how they can request a vote by mail ballot if they need to do that in their state, and what steps they should take to vote and participate.
No mention of electoral votes.
If the president or a politician gives misinformation on COVID, that is different than...
Because if we don't know how to vote, Facebook will teach us.
We see, so there are some very specific cases of false information. If it is misinformation about coronavirus that could lead to physical harm, if it is misinformation about voting that would lead to direct voting, for example, lying about how someone votes, or suggesting that there might be legal consequences for voting for certain types of people, we will take that down, because the consequences of that, if even one person sees that and is deterred from voting, is too significant. But if people are making claims or debating about how voting works, I think that debate is important. But people need accurate information so that they can judge it and see what their elected officials are saying.
But couldn't the president saying vote by mail is fraudulent if voter suppression?
In a case like this, what we want people to have accurate information right on those posts. And whether it's the president, whether it's a different elected official, whether it's a public influencer, people need to be able to see how vote by mail works and how it is protected. That's why in the Voter Information Center, there's going to be facts about voting, dispel confusion, and help people understand how the process works and how it can be protected.
Facebook is gaming out how things could play out around the election. Facebook obviously plays a very critical role for voters. If election results are delayed in November and President Trump uses Facebook to say vote by mail is fraudulent, will Facebook take it out? Where is the line?
It does look more and more like we're not going to know immediately on November 3rd what the result is, and that creates this period of uncertainty. And the uncertainty is challenging because of domestic actors. It's also challenging because of foreign actors. Foreign actors will take advantage of this time and try to manipulate the public debate. So there are a couple of things we're going to do. The first and most important is these same voter information centers. In the lead up to the election, they're going to show information about how to vote. But on election day and immediately after, they will show information about how the count is going, what's happening, what people should expect, and what the next steps are. So if there are claims and counterclaims about who won, or whether the vote is complete or not, or whether the vote is legitimate or not, people will see that, but they will also see clear information about what to expect and what the process is.
So, but I guess where is the line then?
Right.
For
Fake profiles.
taking down posts that could be voter suppression or sow distrust, as we know foreign actors have done. And I've talked to sources in the law enforcement community who are concerned that politicians, that the president is basically helping these foreign adversaries sow distrust in democracy, sow distrust in the election system. Where is the line to remove posts like that, especially if the election is delayed?
So one challenge here is we don't just want to focus on the content of the message. If we're talking about foreign actors or any actor that's trying to mislead people about who they are or who's behind their operation, we will find and take that down. We've removed more than 50 networks trying to do this last year, and we're up to almost 24 this year, including some coming from Russia and some coming from Iran. So we have behavioral enforcement around people using networks and fake accounts. If we're talking about the content of the communication, then we've laid out pretty clearly there's a set of claims, statements about an election that if they're provably false and about voting, we will take them down. And these are misleading people about how, when, or where to vote. And some other specific things that we can talk about in more detail. Our teams are looking right now at this critical period after the election when there might be uncertainty, when there likely will be uncertainty, and evaluating whether we should have additional components added here to be able to take action.
Yeah, because I mean, that is the question. What is the plan? And obviously, Facebook played a big role. This disinformation was pervasive in 2016 from foreign actors. And we know that Russia, China, Iran are using Facebook and social media, again, to sow distrust. We also know that there have been hacking done, that prominent people, including Joe Biden, have been hacked. Have you seen evidence of foreign actors trying to hack campaign or candidate accounts? What have you seen in that regard?
There's been a good amount of public reporting. The U.S. government has highlighted this. Google has highlighted that they've seen some targeting of campaigns. We know that foreign actors are targeting campaigns, but the reason they're doing that is that influence operations and this deception, it targets all of society. They target social media. We also see them targeting and using traditional media. We see them targeting public debate across all of its components. And so we work closely together with our government partners in civil society, and other partners in industry to be able to find and stop this type of targeting.
Okay, and I want to quickly, before we let you go, Nathaniel, I want to go to this video of Nancy Pelosi. Facebook has put this partly false label on the video of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi because it was manipulated to make it look like she was drunk or drugged. We checked today, that video is still on your site with more than 3.7 million views. It looks like every other video on Facebook, there's no warnings or clear labels. If your fact checker said the video is altered, why didn't you remove it or make it more clear that this is false?
So I don't know the specific video you're referring to. What I can tell you is when a fact checker concludes that something's false, we place a label on it. And actually for a video, the label overlays the video itself. So you can't even click through to the label until you've read to the video, until you've read the label. And then in addition, we downrank the video. So far fewer people see it. So one of the challenges, and one of the things we've seen around some recent videos, is there's an interesting tension here. We've seen mainstream reporting and traditional press reporting on these videos and linking to them. And large volumes of people following those links to see the videos because it's being covered in the news. And
then why not take them down? I mean, just the controversial ones where you're saying this is partly false. Why not just take it down?
So there are two types of people who might find video like this. First is someone who stumbles across it, and second is someone who seeks it out. If we put a label on it that blocks the vision of it, and then we downrank it, people don't stumble across it. We drastically reduce the volume of people who find it. If someone's hunting for this, they're going to find it anyway. They're going to find it on some other site. without a label on it. I would rather they find it and see it with a label and context rather than them finding it somewhere else without the label and context. Now that's a difficult balance.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us, but I think that's an important balance to strike to make sure that people don't just find the content, but they find the context that shows that it's been rated false.
And I guess it's just a little bit confusing because then you have the example of Facebook removing this Breitbart video saying that hydroxychloroquine was a cure for COVID. That was released after it had had millions of views. And so it may be confusing for people to understand what is the line, what are the rules.
Well, Pam, I mean, we've said, and I should say, we've said that content that is false, that is misinformation about coronavirus, that could lead to direct harm, for example, fake cures, we're going to take down because the danger of someone seeing that once and then relying on that fake cure can lead to direct physical harm. But when you're talking about a broader range of misinformation, we want people to see it. We also want them to understand that it's been determined to be false so that they can make their own judgment and so that that label is very clear.
All right, Nathaniel Bleischer, thank you so much for coming on for this important discussion. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Ben.
And up next, Dr. Sanjay Gupta with a look at the so-called long hauler still dealing with the effects of coronavirus months after being diagnosed.